Office for International Partnerships and Programs at Don Honorio, Ventura State University of Cabambangan, Bacolor, Pampanga. With a rich background in research, Dr. Crisostomo will share valuable insights on qualitative data analysis and software. Let us all give a warm virtual welcome to Dr. Mildred M. Crisostomo.
Thank you very much to our dear moderator. Am I heard?
Yes.
Is my voice audible? Yeah,
Loud.
thank you. Good. Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone, especially to the founder and CEO of EdCore, Dr. Richard Sanchez, and of course to all the officers of the EdCore and paper presenters and everyone on the meet right now. A pleasant evening to everyone. Yeah, in fact, I forwarded my presentation to your CEO and founder, Dr. Sanchez. I don't know who'll facilitate the presentation, but of course, I am so privileged to be with you tonight and share with you data analysis, specifically qualitative data analysis using software. But I got a disclaimer to make because when I was invited for this, I right away told Dr. Sanchez that as a researcher, I don't really use software because I believe in the authenticity and the naturalness of qualitative data. Qualitative research is my baby. So majority of my research studies focused on qualitative study. I used a lot of qualitative research designs to the point of using Heideggerian phenomenology. I have tried narratology. I have tried qualitative descriptive, specifically almost all research designs under the canopy of qualitative research. I have used all of those. Yeah, so as a researcher, I really go for qualitative research. Kindly help me with my presentation, please. Anyone who could
Ma'am Carly,
share it?
Ma'am Carly, pasuyo po pa-download, sinend ko po sa inyo sa Messenger.
All right. I think while waiting for the presentation, I think for the past meetings or sessions that you had, you already talked about quantitative research, qualitative research, and probably even mixed research designed. And so I think there is a need for us to have a very quick review specifically on the difference between quantitative research and qualitative research. I got 30 minutes only for this presentation, so I'll make it quick. But later on, I'll definitely focus on sample analysis of data. All right. So what really is the difference between quantitative and qualitative research designs? I titled my presentation, by the way, Maintaining the Veracity, Authenticity, and Quality of Qualitative Data. All right, on to my next slide, please. I'll do this very quick. Yeah, so in terms of the type of research design, let us focus on the difference between qualitative and quantitative. So as to question, the qualitative data answer the question why. And that's basically the purpose of the research. For quanti, it's answering the question how many or how much. For the data type, for quali, we got observation, symbol, word, field work, documentary analysis, results of interview, focus group discussion, and the likes. Whereas for the quantitative, we got number. So we got statistical result. So quanti in nature, basically. And for the approach, we can do it through observation. We can do it through interpretation. Whereas for the quantitative research, we do it through measurement or testing of data. And for the analysis, for qualitative, we do it by grouping common data, which are non-statistical in nature, whereas for the quantitative data, it's statistical analysis of the quantitative data. All right, on to my next slide, please. I think I got around 10 to 11 slides only. Now, why qualitative research? Because it is an in-depth analysis of social phenomena within natural setting. So it's more than knowing what really is the value of something through numerical data or quantitative data. It's digging deeper digging deeper, sailing further to be able really to establish what is going on with this phenomenon and what is it about this phenomenon that we really need to know more about. Why qualitative? Because it is more personal. Unlike in quantitative data, well, what numbers say is what numbers say. Meanwhile, and you just allow your software, just allow SPSS to do the work for you, but not in the case of the qualitative data or qualitative research, because the researcher himself or herself is the one collecting through closer contact and communication with the participants of the study or the key informants for mixed research design. In the quantitative research, you just have to float questionnaire, and sometimes we would even ask others to do it for us. So you really got no relationship with your respondents, and sometimes we're not even very careful in selecting our respondents. We would even allow, again, a software to do the selection of our respondents. Unlike in the qualitative research, you identify them personally through the use of your inclusion criteria. So somehow you have a prior knowledge of who your participants would be later on, and you would deepen that relationship through contact with your participants. Why qualitative research? Because it requires creative and critical thinking. Nowadays, that the world is looking for thinkers who really are into 21st century. That means you are a communicator, you are a problem solver, you are a creative and critical thinker. So if you're not like that, certainly you will not be able to survive the demands of the 21st century or even the demands of the future, because we're not only preparing our teachers, our researchers, or students to become future-proof, we are actually preparing them to become future-ready. Why qualitative? Because it is heavy on problem solving. So after knowing that, I'll share, by the way, one of my research studies with you later on, so we can do a quick data analysis using a certain framework by, of course, the most popular, Braun and Clark, and that of Miles and Huberman. So we'll try analyzing qualitative data. But qualitative research is heavy on problem solving. So while doing a qualitative research, you are at the same time establishing or developing further your skill on how to approach a certain problem. If there's a certain phenomenon that you would like to study, that's the migration of teachers of English, and now they're scattered all over the world. I mean, they are everywhere. I just learned from one of my advisors in the graduate school, who's teaching right now in Taiwan as an EFL teacher, that Taiwan is really a very vibrant destination for teachers of English who would like to develop further their professional skills, and at the same time make good for their family through the many benefits that Taiwan is really offering to every teacher of English there. So I came up with a study on that, because we have so far a number of Kapampangan teachers of English that who are teaching in Taiwan right now. So I want to know personally, what is it that made these teachers of English who used to be teachers in the depth ed to move, not really to go to the US, to New Zealand, which is also open right now for teachers of English, or to other first world countries at that, but in Taiwan, just like a country in ASEAN, in the ASEAN region. Why there? So I really want to know. Thus, I conducted a qualitative study on that, and I'll share you a part of the results later, or even the data later. And why qualitative research? Because it is 21st century thinking based. Just like what I have mentioned a while ago, if you're not really thinking like what 24th century is demanding from all of us, you will lag behind. And when you lag behind, you will lose your relevance. When you lose your relevance, you got no place, actually. You got no place at present times, or more so in the future. On to my next slide, please. So why qualitative research? Inside parentheses, it's not qualitative research. So that means I again got a disclaimer in here, even though there are a lot of setbacks, no, or a sort of disadvantages when using qualitative research. To me, it's really the best research design. Why? Because it's not for everyone. This is the reality that we need to accept. It's really not for everyone. For quantitative research, you can just ask someone to do the statistics for you, and whether you understand it or not later on, that's no longer your problem, because all you have to do is to present your results. So you need not really study SPSS, you need not really study how the statistician came up with those results. No, it's no longer like that. But in qualitative research, it's different. The researcher, the hand of the researcher is there. You will see the hand of the researcher. You will see the mind of the researcher. You will see the heart of the researcher. You will see the creative side of the researcher. If you know plain language only, like, straight English only, and you want to try qualitative research, wait lang, para bang there is a need for you to move a little backward and prepare really for the language that is demanded by qualitative research, because even the way you will craft your themes later on, your sub-themes later on, you really need to be very creative, because you need to also apply the law or principle of parallelism. You need to make sense out of the qualitative data that you're able to gather from your participants. Why qualitative research? Okay, let's read the word inside parentheses. Why not qualitative research? Because it requires ability to make meaning even out of non-word responses. You agree with me? Yeah. Sometimes when you do an interview, when you do focus group discussion, you need to pay attention to even to nuances. You need to pay attention to even to gaps, to silence of people. Why? Because silence is actually the most resounding response. I am saying this because I am both a language and literature major. I know practically that people, when they respond to your question, carry with them a lot of unique behaviors, even utterances at that. So you also need to focus on those. And if you do not focus on those, you are losing half of the journey, half of the battle, half of the battle in doing or pursuing your qualitative research. Why not qualitative research? Because it entails sound and highly academic analysis and interpretation. Whenever I sit as chair of a panel during defense in 3 universities in the province, and the study is a qualitative research, I usually spend around 2 hours, commenting on the turnout of the qualitative data, commenting on the themes and the sub-themes, commenting on the analyses and interpretations of the themes and the sub-themes. Because to me, that is very important. It's the very soul of the paper, of the qualitative paper. So I don't simply accept like a word theme or sub-theme, or 2-word theme or sub-theme, and the next one is a sentence, or what follows that after is a phrase. No, that won't pass to me. I don't accept those as very sound and highly academic sub-themes. Why not qualitative research? Because analysis is a common problem. Analysis is a common problem. I know that there are a lot of softwares now that we can use or can help us out, even AI generated that can help us out in analyzing, in fact, preparing, showing patterns, in the qualitative data that we gather. But it is really a problem because you need to be very creative. You need to be very critical. So even though there are softwares, to me, they are not enough, because they somehow sacrifice the naturalness and the authenticity of your data. Of course, AI-generated softwares and other softwares that use for qualitative data analysis, I told you a while ago, cannot really capture nuances. because you just have to submit the word data, okay, word data, or whatever other pictographs probably that you have. But you see, once you're not able to capture, no one says you're not able to capture even behavior during your interview and all. I told you you're missing half of the battle and half of the journey. On to my next slide, please. Now, what's the solution? Partly, the solution is the availability of software. So what are these software for? These qualitative data analysis software like NVivo, Delve, or Atlas, among others, actually allow researchers to organize, analyze, and visualize their data, finding the patterns in qualitative data or unstructured data. So what are the sources of our data in a qualitative research? We got interviews, we got surveys, field notes, videos, audio files, images, journal, article, review, interviews, web content, and others. But you see, there's no way by which we can really deliver and make sense out of the other non-word responses from our participants. That's actually the limitation of this qualitative data analysis software. I'm sorry, but I am really very into manual data analysis. So to appease your feeling, I can just introduce you a number of qualitative data analysis software, but to appease your feeling, I can even teach you how to make things easy for qualitative data analysis. On to my next slide, please. Now, what's the realization now? With the presence or the introduction of a number of qualitative data analysis software, please let us not ever discount the ingenuities of human data analyzer. We are human data analyzer. No matter how seem to be perfect an AI-generated software is, or the many softwares that we know, no single software can ever equate the creativity and the naturalness of manual analysis, human data analyzer. So I have tried also some softwares. In fact, even during our defense, some of our panel members would even recommend for the use of certain softwares to make the job of a qualitative researcher easier. Yeah, so they usually try it, but whenever I read some themes, I feel like something is lacking. So yeah, I told them, aside from using software, please double check everything. It's, to me, very important that you also use manual analysis of your qualitative data. So manual analysis is very important because the reflection is, it maintains the authenticity, veracity, and naturalness of qualitative data. As a researcher, if you want to see your mind, you want to see your heart, you want to see your hand in your paper, please do not let go of manual analysis or be a human data analyzer of your qualitative data. So yeah, next slide, please. I got a study, titled Putting a Dot on the Map. No, please let it stay there. Putting a Dot on the Map. I did not use any software for qualitative data. Instead, I got two paper. Actually, I got two research studies. One is Techniche. It's our alumni working in Malaysia, because I am the director of the Office for International Partnerships and Programs of our university. So my research studies always focus on migration, on internationalization. So I used one this data analysis framework by Braun and Clark, or Clark and Braun, in 2013. I know that if all of you are researchers, you are also very familiar with this one. So it is composed of 6 steps, 6-step data analysis process, like familiarization of data, generation of codes, combining codes into themes, reviewing your themes, determining the significance of themes, and later on reporting your findings. Aside from these, onto my next slide, please. We also got another one. It's Miles and Huberman, which is a lot simpler. In 1994, it's data analysis framework. If Braun and Clark is good for 6 steps, well, Miles and Huberman is good for 4 steps only. So if you want to make everything a lot easier, or probably easiest, I said a while ago, easier, that's the Braun and Clark, or Clark and Braun. And if you want to make it easiest, then you can try Miles and Huberman data analysis framework, which is composed of 4 steps only. One is data collection, second is data reduction, third is data display, and 4 is conclusion and verification. Now, here it is. Next slide, please. All right. So the title of my study, one study, is Putting a Dot on the Map, Exploring the Readiness and Adaptiveness of Thriving Kapampangan Language Teachers in Taiwan. In here, the research design that I used is Heideggerian phenomenology. So it's not only a phenomenology. Remember this, if you are using qualitative phenomenology, you have to identify further what kind of phenomenological design are you using in your study. Is it Heideggerian phenomenology? Because there are a lot of phenomenological research design, all right? Now, so these are, excuse me, I'll just turn off my camera because of my connectivity. Okay. Now, so going back, so what's the study about? So obviously, I explored the readiness and adaptiveness of thriving Kapampangan language teachers in Taiwan. Okay, out of my inclusion criteria, I was able to select around eight participants, 4 female and 4 male participants. Okay, excuse me. Excuse me.
Yes, Doc.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Doc. We can
Am I
hear.
audible?
Yes, Doc.
No, the previous slide, please.
Wait, Doc.
The previous slide.
Here. This one, Doc.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Doc, we can. Which?
Excuse me, can you hear me?
Yes, Doc, we can
Yeah,
hear you.
there. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so my first question, my first SOP in the study is the views of my participants relative to teaching abroad. Okay, the second has something to do with their readiness. Third is adaptiveness. Fourth is the advantages that they experience because of their readiness and adaptiveness as language teachers in Taiwan. So when I asked about their perception, when I asked about their readiness and adaptiveness, and I asked about the advantages that they experienced working as language teachers in Taiwan, these were the responses that I received from them. Actually, I had to do it twice. I had to do the collection of qualitative data twice because I was not satisfied with the results of the initial interview. What I did, I forwarded the interview guide to them and asked them to just accomplish it. After that, I subjected them to an interview. Thirdly, 2 rounds of interview, one sending of questionnaire interview guide to them, and then 2 rounds of interview, because I was not yet satisfied with the result of the interview guide, and then interview, and then second round of interview. No, it was that time only that I got satisfied with the result, because everything that I wanted to know, I was able to gather. So these were the responses I received from them. My pupils are generous. Their way of showing how I appreciate what I do as a teacher is through letters, food, and sometimes gifts. To me, teaching abroad is rewarding. I therefore debunk the idea that it is so challenging and sometimes disappointing. Second, I consider my pupils my own children. I make sure that I show to them how much I care. In return, they share with me even the most ordinary and usual stories that like have like they that they have like what they ate before going to school and how they play with their pets. I find this rewarding because they either consider me their friend or a family member. And then for the next, I consider my work as a source of happiness. It makes me happy whenever I see my learners enjoying. It's so much fun to teach children abroad, though a bit challenging sometimes, but the satisfaction I get is enough to have so much fun. Not a piece of cake, I know, yet it's fun. Children are cute and adorable, and I make them sing and dance. So focusing on this slide alone, all right? We have to familiarize ourselves with the data. Familiarizing oneself with the data means you have to listen to the recording over and over and over again. And after transcribing everything, you have to read over and over and over again until such time that you get to almost memorize everything. That's being familiar with the data. Why is it like that? Because as you keep on listening, as you keep on reading, you get to also to categorize them, at least in your head. Categorize them. So later on, it would be a lot easier on your part to just, put everything in order. Okay. So based on the slide that's flashed before all of you, what do you think are the categories that we can form out of this? What are the categories? Now, remember, we're not yet in the process of forming themes. We're simply in the process of categorizing the responses, the data that we're able to collect from our participants. First of all, right, their perception toward teaching abroad is very positive. Perception toward teaching abroad is very positive, right? Okay, satisfaction and challenges, very positive. That's the mother category. But we have to break the mother category. If we say that their reception or perception toward teaching abroad is only very positive, how can we break that into smaller categories or limited categories? I received a response. It's satisfaction and challenges. Okay, we'll see. Positive, so satisfaction and challenges. Challenge, by the way, is not always negative. Challenge can actually be positive. So we would only know whether the word challenge or the response challenge is positive if the entire statement, if we become very familiar with the entire statement, and even the way that the word challenge was actually mentioned by the participants. Okay. Satisfaction. All right. So we can say, therefore, that teaching abroad is satisfying, right? Satisfaction. I'll accept that category. Satisfaction. Now, what specific, all right, what specific statement tells us that teaching abroad is satisfying? Okay, retention, rewarding, all right. Satisfying or rewarding, what else? Okay, let's see participant 4, because the own children, all right, own children. Okay, so if these are our categories, later on, all we need to do is to form our themes out of these categories. In other cases, this is case by case basis. In other cases, they call the themes as sub themes because they consider the variable as the theme itself. So if it is SOP1 and the question is about the perception of the participants toward teaching abroad, usually perception of participants toward teaching abroad is considered as a theme, and sub-themes are what we formed out of the responses of the participants. Okay, let's see. Thank you for your responses. We got retention, we got rewarding, own children, what else? And then benefits. Okay. So para bang beneficial and rewarding. No? Teaching abroad is both beneficial and rewarding. So the next thing we need to do now is to support that theme, right? Support that theme. What specific responses or testimonies from our participants can support that theme, that teaching abroad is both satisfying and rewarding? Okay, satisfying nga ba? Satisfying and rewarding. Ano, can we lift the response from participant 4? My pupils are generous. Their way of showing how I appreciate what I do as a teacher is through letters, food, and sometimes gifts. To me, teaching abroad is rewarding, either for debunk the idea that is so challenging and sometimes disappointing. Yeah. So if we're saying that our theme, our first theme is that teaching abroad is satisfying and rewarding, then the response from participant 4 is actually a perfect testimony to quote, to strengthen our claim, our theme that it's satisfying and rewarding. Okay. What about the response from participant 2? I consider my pupils as my own children. I make sure that I show to them how much I care. In return, they share with me even the most ordinary and usual stories. Okay, that they have, like what they ate or had before going to school and how they play with their pets. I find this rewarding because they either consider me their friend or a family member. In fact, out of the responses that we receive from our participants right now on the meet, no, like own children, benefits, rewarding, retention, satisfaction challenges, we can actually trim this down, no? Trim this down. So can we really accept challenges as a category? Can we accept own children as a category? Actually, that's the trick there. That's the trick there. We focus on the question. What's the question? Perception of the participants toward teaching abroad. We cannot accept, of course, own children as a category. No? And if you notice that almost all responses are positive, then we cannot probably accept also challenges as a further category, because the way the word challenging here is mentioned, it's actually debunking the idea. So working abroad is not, after all, challenging. So from your initial categories, we can actually trim them down, and from the final categories, we can form our themes or our sub-themes. And later on, we need to validate or verify our themes. Are the themes valid? And what makes every theme valid is through the support, not through the support of the participants' responses. Please do not be confused. Do not be confused on every word that you see in the response, because while you're already in the process of forming your themes, that means you are focusing on keywords. Ito mahaba yung sagot nila, as in very long sentences, almost paragraph response at that. Pero we do not lift generosity, we do not lift appreciation, we do not lift challenging and disappointing, di ba? Because generosity, appreciation can actually be lumped and be placed under the canopy of rewarding. You feel so rewarded when your pupils are generous. You feel so rewarded when your pupils appreciate you. So from there, it's very clear. Yeah, it's true that the theme possibly the theme in here is that it is rewarding or it is satisfying. Though there's no word that's mentioned that it's satisfying, right? No satisfying word in here. But remember, when one is rewarded, he or she can also automatically be satisfied. So we can actually use both satisfying and rewarding, because the moment that we hear or review our responses, okay, our responses, that's also the start for us to be very creative in, identifying what word can perfectly capture the responses of the participants. Now, so what are our considerations now in coming up with our themes, like in the formation of our themes? Well, we need to make sure that we achieve parallelism, all right? We avoid repetition. We achieve parallelism. So when you start with the ing form of the verb, then you gotta end everything with the ing form of the verb. When you start with a modifier, then you have to finish all themes with a modifier. When you start, whatever it is that you started the first theme with, then you have to sustain that until the formation of the last theme. So that's parallelism. All right. And we have to make sure too that they logically flow. No, there is logical flow in the formation of our theme. So we see cohesion. I mean, the relatedness, the interconnectedness of our themes. So we make, if for SOP1 you're able to form 3 themes, then you must be able to see the interconnectedness of the 3 themes, and all these lead to the question. So they really are clear answers to the question. Okay. On to my next slide, please. So we're okay with that, satisfying and rewarding, and then somehow we get to identify the 4 as possible responses for the theme that we're able to form. On to my next slide, please. There. It's different when you are ready and adaptive to anything and everything. So this is already a question on readiness and adaptiveness. It is different when you are ready and adaptive to anything and everything. This is where most OFWs fall short. They are just armed with a desire to change the lives of their families, but not making time to be ready and prepare for it. In my case, I really prepared for challenges. That's why when they come, I know what to do. That's from participant 3. From participant 5, I am not a millionaire, but I know I will get there. Guided by prayers, I know that there is no single challenge I cannot overcome, because I did not only prepare for the good, I also prepared for the worst times. That's from P5. From P1, a change in the workplace means a change in strategies or action. While still in the Philippines, I watched videos of Filipino teachers abroad. I listened to their stories and learned from them. I read different materials about Taiwan and its people, including their educational system. Because of this, I find myself positive even to changes. That's from P1. From P6, believe it or not, I was able to develop positive reception to changes because it did not affect that much. I left the Philippines when was so sure of my preparation. And from participant 7, I do not consider my work as work anymore. I do not see the difference between teaching in depth ed and here in Taiwan. I can confidently say that everything is manageable. We are not overworked. We did not buy our materials. We are given time to prepare for the next day's class, among others. So what are these? These are probably advantages of being ready and adaptive. Advantages of being ready and adaptive. So out of the responses again of our participants, what theme or sub-theme can we form? Okay, can we form? What have you noticed with the responses, by the way? Because the participants are all teachers of English. They are master teachers also. I mean, MAED in English, graduates of MAED in English. So yeah, they're also very good in explaining further their answer to specific question during the interview session. Okay. I told you it's only the time, it's only when I received this kind of responses from my participants that I decided to stop, because I thought, yeah, I was able to saturate the experience, I was able to saturate the phenomenon, and therefore out of these responses, I can even go further with discussing my Heideggerian phenomenology, giving justice to the research design that I used for this study. Okay, so, well, of course, we do not have much time. We do not have much time for, to practically explain everything to you. But I would just like to end it, end this one by saying, softwares definitely cannot be like ours. Softwares are not enough to show what we need to show in a specific research to deliver the promise of our research. Let us make use of software as initial, now as our initial means to arrange our qualitative data. Let us use software to, to do the dirty work for us. But let us leave the creative part of our paper, like the naturalness, the authenticity of our paper, specifically in analyzing the data to us. That's our job. That's why I said, if you think qualitative research is not for you, then be settled with quantitative research for now. If you think you're not ready to do analysis, like manual analysis without the help of software, please do not try qualitative research yet. Try it when you think you are ready. Try it when you think you can use manual analysis, and then just use as software qualitative data analysis software as complementary tool in enhancing probably the mechanical neatness of your data, qualitative data, because the software will arrange them after all. But do not trust software 100%. Yeah, you need to share your mind. You need to share your heart. You need to show your hand in your qualitative research. It's every response has a feeling, and every theme has a feeling. A panelist during defense, and even those who are actually checking whether our research studies are really good or not, know when something is AI generated. Actually, Turnitin even can detect whether your response or your paragraph is AI generated. We just had our Asian Festival contests, and one of the contests that we had was actually research pits, and we're surprised that when we run the entry through Turnitin, the similarity index was 14% only. But when we detected it for AI, it appeared that it's 100% AI created. So yeah, let us not submit ourselves to such scrutiny and humiliation. A researcher is a researcher no matter what. So let's learn the rigor of everything, and qualitative data analysis is a rigorous job that we need to face as a researcher. We'll get there. What's more important is that we become very patient in addressing the demands of equality research at that, either through the use of a software, but that's not enough. It's through your mind and through your heart and through your hands. Yeah, so thank you very much, and good evening to everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mildred. Before we proceed with the question and answer portion, I would like to request everyone to open their cameras as we take a group photo where Dr. Alan Pleno, my co-chair, will be capturing this moment. Okay. Dr. Pleno.
Yes, ma'am. Okay na po. Okay na po.
Okay, thank you so much. Dear researchers, students and consultants, and members of EDCOR. Let us proceed. Okay, on behalf of EDCOR, I'd like to extend our heartfelt appreciation to our speaker, Dr. Mildred M. Crisostomo, for the insightful presentation, ma'am. But before that, let us grab this opportunity to ask questions to our dear speaker. If there are any, you can type in our chat box if you have any questions, or you may unmute yourselves for this portion. Okay, we have one question here from Ma'am Imelda C. Runas. How can we ensure the validity and reliability of qualitative data?
All right, it's one of the setbacks, right? One of the setbacks of qualitative research. They usually say that, or it's prone to manipulation, it's very subjective at that. But of course, when there is a setback, that means there is also a solution for that. So what do? We can actually triangulate. And remember, triangulation is not just an issue of inviting three different groups of people. Triangulation can also be done through the use of different instruments in qualitative data. Like you can actually invite one group to do a semi-structured interview. You can have documentary analysis. You can have narratives. You can have a focus group discussion. No? Aside from that, you can. What is good is get an outside reader, not really a validator, but an outside reader. Invite outside reader and ask them, who are also known experts in the field of qualitative research and are very good too in analyzing qualitative data. Ask them to read. Ask them to read also the results. Okay, and please do not forget to show, from the time that you're able to gather data from your participants, please show even the transcription. Show the transcription to them. You may ask them to initially validate if what they see in the transcription is what they really answered during the interview. If what you got from documentary analysis is what really is seen in the document. Okay, so three ways. Look for an outside reader. Second, triangulate. Triangulate the process, triangulate even your participants. Third, do not forget the very source of your data. Ask them to see the results. Ask them to see the responses. Show to them the transcription. That's one way by which, those are three ways by which we can validate our qualitative data. And there's another question in here. It's, I can just do this one. I can just read it. As an advisor or panel, how do they have the right to dictate the researcher what thematic analysis model is used? I like, don't use colysis or just Braun and Clark. No. What is your comment on that? They cannot, of course, dictate. They're not supposed to dictate. At the end of the day, the research is about the researcher. Why would you have to dictate when what you will dictate to the researcher is something that is not familiar to them? Remember that there are three things that we consider when we do research. One, you know it very well. Two, it interests you the most. Three, it's manageable. So when being manageable is put at stake already, then you go back to the reason why there is a research, and that's you. So it's not the job of the it's not the job of the panel to insist, to dictate. Even the word dictate, insist. We can only recommend, we can only suggest. All right, but not to the point of insisting, of dictating the researcher. Next, are open-ended questionnaires through Google Forms considered as qualitative design? Po. Yeah, open-ended questionnaires. Yeah, when your participants are asked, when your participants are asked to discuss further, explain further, because they are open-ended questions, then yeah, we regard that too as a qualitative data. It's just that because of the pandemic, now we're using Google Forms, we're using a lot of easiest ways on how to deliver the questions to our participants. No, but for as long as our participants are given the chance to explain, to dig further, to sail, to dig deeper, sail further, that can be regarded as qualitative data. How can we choose the right qualitative research methodology for a study po? First of all, you need to have choices. Ako, ang sinasabi ko sa mga students ko in the graduate school, know at least 2 qualitative research designs and you will survive your master's. Okay? When I say know at least 2, that means you really have your hand over it. You have a mastery. You have the mastery of it. Example, if the study is simply asking what is the perception, what is like this, what is like this, so from the way you crafted your SOPs, right away you can identify the research design, qualitative research design. That's simply qualitative descriptive. It's not qualitative phenomenology. It's not qualitative narratology. It's not a case study. It's not grounded theory. So the way you craft your SOPs can right away give you the idea on what kind of qualitative research design you will use. Yeah, I think we're good. Is it a must? It's not. To me, it's not. I value my creativity. I value my critical thinking skill. All right. And I really want to own the paper. So wherever I would present the paper, I can tell the whole world, I need not have a copy. I can actually, share with you the results of my paper. But of course, for beginners probably, and who would like to make things not really that challenging and personal, I told you, initially you can use a software, but please couple the software with your manual analysis also. You need to double check at the same time. It's really not a must because I don't use it. I just tried using it before and I was not happy with the result. Okay, but of course, at the end of the day, it is who we are as a researcher. If we think our job as a researcher becomes a lot easier with the help of a software, go for it. But my suggestion is that please come up with the second layer of qualitative data analysis. And the second layer is you as a human data analyzer. All right. Anything else?
As much as we would like to accommodate all of your questions, we are to accomplish our webinar for 2 hours only. So thank you so much for all your questions. And at this point, again, I would like to extend our heartfelt appreciation to our speaker, Dr. Mildred M. Crisostomo, for the insightful presentation. So with that, let me show and present the Certificate of Recognition to Dr. Mildred M. Crisostomo for her invaluable time and expertise as a resource speaker during ETCOR series of International Research Capability Building Seminar Workshop cum International Research Conference or paper presentations held today on October 3, 2024. Thank you so much, ma'am. So before we move on, I'd like to take a moment to invite everyone to stay connected with EDCOR and be part of our growing research community. You can stay updated on our latest projects, events, and research activities by following and liking our official Facebook page. Simply search for Embracing the Culture of Research EDCOR Educational Research Center in Facebook. We also encourage you to subscribe to EDCOR's YouTube channel, where you'll find valuable content such as research presentations, webinars, and educational materials. Just search for Embracing the Culture of Research on YouTube to keep posted. By following us, you'll never miss an opportunity to participate in our upcoming webinars, research activities, and collaborative projects. We look forward to connecting with you. Now, moving on to an important part of today's program, the paper presentations. Before we begin, I would like to share the criteria for judging by our esteemed panel of judges